is Jeff, and let's get started with the video. Okay, we'll get started. In an effort to adapt, I'm trying a virtual art show, and it took some effort to reorganize and free up some space in my editing and archiving studio to be able to present some artwork with no shows since March, and realistically probably no shows until the summer of 2021, and that's fingers crossed that we've gotten to a place that's safe and we're able to hold events in the world, hopefully. So I have a new body of work, and so some of this is pieces that are left from traveling with Americana, which in the future I will no longer be showing this work at shows. So first one is a 20 by 30. They're solid wood frames. They have acrylic facing, all archival materials, and they are pigment prints. And this is Pepe's. This is in Key West. It is the oldest restaurant in Key West, but it has a really good island vibe to it. I used to live in Key West. I got married in Key West, and if you've been there, then you know. If you've never been there, you should definitely go there. It's a really, really great island. It's a lot of fun, and there's definitely a lot of kind of a Cuban vibe. So it's 20 by 30, and the overall frame size is 24 by 34. The next one is Printer's Alley, and Printer's Alley is in Nashville, Tennessee. Another really fun city. We actually had a trip planned. There was a snowstorm up north. We decided to go anyways because it was only a few inches, and not that we get a lot of snow, but we weren't too worried about it. But Nashville, as we learned, does not really ever get snow. And so it's pretty unique. The city really doesn't quite know how to deal with it, or just not to do anything. The city was shut down. The bars, some bars were still open. Things were still happening, but this is a pretty popular tourist stop, and so it would create a unique opportunity to be able to shoot Printer's Alley with no one in that alley. And it has changed since. Now there are condos and some gentrification, so it's really a great piece of photography just for the preservation of history, and it has a great feel. I mean, the Fleet Street pub, a lot of people always think it's London, which makes sense because the train system there, the metro, that is the sign. So I'm not really sure the background on that, but molding, solid wood, black, archival materials, and it is a pigment print. The next one, hopefully this is a good place for me to stand. Maybe I'll try over here. So R&R Bait. This is a very iconic kind of photograph, lending itself back to the 50s. Until recently, it was still open. If you happen to be a Columbus native or live in Columbus, this is a pretty unique. The city has grown around the brewery district, and it had a lot of character. It has a giant painted mural on the side of the building, and the staff were really friendly, but they just have an amazing sign, and it was really, really well built, and so it will probably, as long as it doesn't get torn down, hopefully maybe it'll get protected by the Historical Society or something, because it is a really neat piece of history. Alright, so then the next one is another a classic scene of American history, and Americana is the old gas stations. This one happens to be kind of a part of a farm. Something about the simplicity of it and just the look of it, and so I do shoot a lot of old gas stations, and I do really search them out, and especially out west, but the Midwest is pretty good. Occasionally, you still run into old gas stations, old gas pumps, things like that. This piece here is 24 by 30. It is a wood molding. It's actually a light brown, so you know. And this doesn't have any facing. This is kind of a unique, it's a cold press. So it's a pigment print that has been cold pressed onto gator board, which acts as the backing, and then it has an archival finish on it. So it's a unique process, but what's really nice is that you don't have any facing on it, and so you eliminate any glares, and it really just, you know, from any angle and any lighting, you get to just view the photograph. It is a unique process. This is number one and one only. Next piece, they're kind of together. It's two more service stations. The name of them is Texas Service Station. This was on a western trip. We were out for 3 weeks, and it was a big trip. But so this was the northern part of Texas, kind of on the border as you're going to New Mexico, and then working your way west. And you get out. It's really barren. I mean, there's just really nothing out there at all. You wouldn't even find like a water source. Like, it's a really harsh environment, and clearly. And so this is kind of a snapshot of an era when automobiles drove that way. Now we tend to fly over all of the desert and everything that's out there. And if you're going to Arizona or California or New Mexico, so it's really neat. So this is actually probably like just car service, and this was sitting kind of to the back of this one here. So this was the front, and then the road like coming in. So this, and then the service station in the back, and then just completely like flat. You can sort of see like mountains and things that are way off, pretty much in New Mexico at that point. But yeah, all the windows are blown out, and it's just been abandoned, and from just no business. I mean, cars just not driving that way, but just pretty harsh. It's a pretty rough environment out there. I mean, I wouldn't want to run out of gas out there. And there are a lot of semi trucks. They use truck stops and everything. So all these kind of mom and pop and small businesses no longer exist, sadly. Then the next is two barns, and about 5 years ago or so, I had a whole collection in a gallery that was all dedicated to barns. And at the time, it was pretty popular that the barnwood was being sold and used in restaurants and other businesses, and just reclaiming that wood and then doing something with it just for its rustic appeal. And so companies, when I understand it, would come in and take down a whole wall of a barn, or all the side walls, and take all the wood, and then they would replace it with steel siding, which benefits the farmer. They don't have to paint the barn every year or every other year. And so, yeah, it kind of seemed like they might like disappear, like there wouldn't be any more wooden barns. And so most of the barns that I've shot are all in the Midwest. And they do vary. And driving around and searching for them, there are a lot of different build styles, and I don't know that much beyond that, like if the reasoning or just like where they're built, who was building them, and the styles and everything. But this is a northern one, up by like Lake Erie, and it's very different. That specifically is very different than a lot of the other barns that I've found and shot that were still all wood and everything, and had not been messed with. This one was in very, very good condition. Really neat, like steeple tops that were all like finished and everything, like a lot of detail in the barn, and the roof and everything, and typical cornfields all the way around it. And this piece here is a 16 by 20. This has glass facing, UV anti-reflective glass, so a really high quality glass, matted pigment print. And the next one is an 18 by 24 matted. It has glass facing as well, UV anti-reflective, which is really great. This one was in southern Ohio, which is mostly completely flat, but this has like a little bit of a hill to it, and it's just a good combination of like a really classic barn, white steel, like metal steeple tops that circulate air, I guess, for probably hay or whatever they kept in the top, probably hay. A classic silo behind it. It's cement and an old structure, and just the driveway, like the leading lines of it going to an old barn is. Alright, so thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your consideration. If you are interested in any of these pieces and you're watching this through my email group, then you can simply respond in the email and tell me which piece that you're interested in, and I can let you know if it's still available, and then whether you need shipping, or if you're in the Columbus vicinity, delivery could be an option, just within reason. So we can discuss like an estimate of shipping and where it would need to go. Payment would be through Square Invoice, which is safe and secure. You can use debit card, credit card. But if you're watching this or discovering it through YouTube, and you are interested in any of these pieces, in the description below will be a link to my website, and by clicking that link you can go there and use the contact page, and then that will start an email. That way I'm not sharing my email on YouTube and Google, and same for the potential buyer as well. And tell me which piece you're interested in, and we can continue the conversation from there. So thank you again for tuning in, and thank you for any future considerations. Take care.